Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Gibbs F1 here, and welcome to what is the final game week roundup of #FXRL, FormulaXbox Rocket League Season 2 of course. And with regards to this week, strap in folks, it's going to be a long one. We're rounding up game week 12 of the regular season, which is basically where all the games that were yet to be played spilled over into, so all those postponed fixtures and fixtures that just didn't quite get away when they were meant to were played out this week. And then on top of all of that, we had the Drop Shot Cup to close the season, and that one was a thrilling contest, particularly in the final. So without further ado, to move on to what was the end of the regular season, and to start with the Icemen, who played 3 games in this overspilled game week. And the first one came against the Central Element, but they were no match of course for Luke and Maestro, and they managed to put 7 past the Icemen and take home a 7-4 victory. 7-4 proving to be one of the Icemen's best results of the season, in fact. For certainly the first time they've scored 4 goals in one match. Honours even basically between Scott and Kieran in this one, 2 goals apiece. And it was Luke who really was the MVP of this one. 7 goals from 11 shots, a save to match as well. So he really was the star of the day, and ultimately the man who carried him over the line. To be fair to the Icemen, they did actually bottle a 3-0 lead here as well. So Kieran and Scott devastated after that. They were edging quite close to their first victory of the season, but no cigar against the Central Element. And they thought maybe they could have a win against Massive Horse, but again to no avail for the Icemen. Once again their opposition put 7 goals past them, and it was on this occasion a 7-2 win for Massive Horse. 5 goals from Insignia, 2 from Dalbian, and honours even once again from Kieran and Scott, 1 goal apiece. And their final game of the week came against Team Estonia, and this one was a much closer contest, a 3-1 victory for Estonia. Ultimately it was a match that the Icemen were hoping they might be able to nick a victory, but in the end CK and Jack Spar just had too much for them on the day. 2 goals from CK, 1 from Jack Spar, but what was more poignant from Jack Spar was his saves. 2 saves, and boy were they good ones. Really top draw, right last ditch efforts, and he was their saviour on the day. So a very, very solid match from Jack Spar. CK technically got the MVP, but it was certainly a very, very good effort from Jack on that one. And with regards to Team Estonia's next match of the week, they didn't quite fare so well against Massive Horse. Dalbian with 4 goals from a massive 10 shots. Conversion left much to be desired, but it still managed to secure a 6-2 victory against Estonia for Dalbian and Insignia. So a solid end to the season for those guys. Very, very good performances in the final game week. So moving on to what the final standings look like. And of course it's Angulation Sensations who were our Season 2 victors. 16 matches played, they still had 2 to play, and it's 48 points from those 16 games. Of course unbeaten with a goal difference of plus 91. As soon as they joined the league, they joined the league late, but as soon as they joined, we just knew that they were going to be able to, see off the competition basically. Luck ran them pretty close to begin with, and it was really a case of luck versus Angulation for the majority of the campaign. Could Luck hold on? Well, in the final assessment, not quite. They ended up 6 points adrift of their rivals. 13 matches won from Luck though, in regular time and 1 in overtime. So certainly a very, very good performance from them all season long. And the 3 defeats, of course, 2 of them came against Angsen, so you can't really complain with that. Luck were very, very solid. And any other season, without Angsen being there, they would have been very worthy champions indeed. Disconnected United ended up in the bronze medal slot. 18 played, 37 points from those matches, and just 4 defeats for those guys in regular time. So ultimately very solid effort from those guys indeed. Massive Horse, after a very good final game week, ended up joint 3rd on 37 points as well, and joint on goal difference in fact too. The only reason Disconnected United finished up 3rd spot over Massive Horse was that they'd taken an extra win in regular time, whereas Massive Horse needed overtime on 3 occasions, and that just tipped the balance for them. So silver, not quite a bronze medal for them. They end up taking home the 4th place spot, which has no medal assigned to it. So I'm going to stop using the medal metaphor now and move on to the Red Devils, who finished in 5th place, 28 points from their 17 games, with 8 matches won, 6 lost in regular time. again, solid season from those guys. They were hoping for more, but ultimately on this occasion they have to settle for what was a mid-table result, but at least in the top half of the final scoreboard. The Central Element ended up on that bottom half, close to the Red Devils, just a point behind on 27 points, 9 won, 9 lost, 18 games played, as symmetrical as you like, and those numbers are certainly good for the OCD. Matkev United, our Season 1 champions, of course, didn't quite fare so well this time round, 23 points for them. Team Estonia finished on 13 points, and then we have the Icemen, who failed to win a game. Technically, their 2 wins, of course, came, as I mentioned earlier, with WBFs against the Monstrous Cushion, and so they finished on 6 points. And the Monstrous Cushion, who of course left with games to play, ended up losing 17, some by themselves, some by WBFs, and ultimately end on 3 points. And that is your standings, ladies and gentlemen, for Season 2 of Rocket League. And moving on to the Golden Wheel Award, of course, awarded to the players who most deadly in front of goal, those who score the most goals. And in the end, it was a battle in-house between the Angulation Sensations guys, and by just 1 goal, Nathan Avey edged out the Rift. And a good effort from Nathan, given that the Rift led for most of the season in terms of the Golden Wheel Awards. So Nathan with a late comeback. And what's more impressive is that their goal tally is very nearly the same. But look at their shots and their conversion. 85 to 83, and almost dead on 60% conversion between the two of them. So they're incredibly evenly matched in terms of in front of goal. Just tremendous statistics from them. And yeah, really impressive all year long. And hey, 101 goals. You can't complain with that. Shout to the amazement as well, Azar, of course, for luck, 47 goals. He's clear of the next, which is Luke, on the leaderboard. So Azar really was, outside of the Angulation Sensation guys, the class of the field as far as goal scoring goes. Moving on to assists now. It was the Rift who topped the table for assists, and of course Nathan following him up as well. Only 3 assists between them, 29 to 26. And again, you'd expect Ang Sen, I should say. Cool, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? To be top of the leaderboards on this one, purely on the basis they scored the most goals. So naturally they're going to have the most opportunities to provide the assists. But shouts also to Wes and Fred, both on 19 apiece. Very, very solid contributions indeed, and helping both Azar and also Melanie, to their teammates, of course, to the top few on the goal scored leaderboards. And moving on to saves made, of course, because it's alright if you score a shed load of goals, but you need to have the saves to back it up, because of course a save is just as valuable as a goal. And it was Dalbian and Luke, the class of the field as far as saves goes, 30 apiece. Very, very solid contributions indeed. Big shout as well to Azar with 24 saves to go with his 47 goals. So to be fair, that's just absolutely massive as far as a contribution goes with regards to both those numbers. At the end of the day, to score the goals and to provide the saves as well, just stunning from him. He's literally everywhere on the pitch, and so very, very solid effort indeed. Drastic Midget as well. Shout to him, 23 saves. Again, nearly as solid as Azar in terms of the save department, and third in terms of, on the leaderboard at least, 4th best, but the bronze medal slot for him. And as far as saves goes, he loves an aerial save as well, does Drastic Midget, which is a talent in itself. As far as the MVP awards go, well, Dalbian with 9 MVP awards. Very, very solid effort from him indeed, given that you only play 18 games. Nathan as well with 8, Luke with 8 too, and Azar and the Rift both with 7 apiece as well. As you can see from their games they played, Ang Sen won the MVP award in every single one of them. Of course, which squares with the fact that they won every game, so that makes a bit of sense really when you think about it. Moving on to hat-tricks as well, and there's 3 that stand out here. You've got Azar, the Rift and Nathan, top 3. They were also the top 3 as far as goals scored stands. And you'd expect that, because naturally if you score lots of goals, you give yourself the best possible opportunity to score the hat-tricks. And shout to Azar for 12 hat-tricks. Very, very solid contribution indeed from 18 games. So very, very good statistics there for him once again. And as far as Playmaker Award goes, Well, that goes to Nathan with 5 awards on that front. It takes 3 assists basically in a game to get a Playmaker award. The Rift and Wes with very good contributions as well, 3 apiece. And Wes, of course, helping Azar to the goal tally that he managed to secure. So very, very good contributions from those guys. And as far as saviours goes, well, this is 3 saves per match. And with 30 saves during the season, no surprise that Luke, and 30 saves apiece I should say, no surprise that Luke and Dalbian are top of the board here. 5 for Luke, 4 for Dalbian, Azar with 4 as well. Again, very solid contributions from those guys. Now, that's the regular season out of the way. We move on to FormulaXbox's first ever cup contest. And this was played out on Drop Shot, where the aim of the game is to create holes in your opponent's floor and to put the ball into those holes. With regards to that, it was played out over the course of 3 rounds. And with regards to one of the first round games, well, we saw Team Estonia face off against Matkev. And in a rare turn of events, it was a 3-0 victory for Estonia. You don't often see games that in Drop Shot that play out to big score lines, purely on the basis that it's a game mode that really does play itself into close fought contests, with your opponent's floor resetting when you score a goal, so it makes it more difficult to really ramp up a big win. But that's certainly what Estonia did. Very solid effort from those guys. Elusive Kev did struggle with ping in this one by the looks of things, with a 208 ping at least when the screenshot was taken. So decent effort from him to get 33 damage points anyway. But it meant that no cigar for them anyway. Matkev, our season 1 champions, could not reclaim any glory in the cup contest. Now, one of the semi-final contests saw the Central Element versus Luck, and well, Luke was on fire here. 730 score, MVP award, 2 goals, 5 saves, 62 damage points. So a very good effort indeed. And while it was a closely fought contest, the Central Element just had too much on the day for Wes and Azar, who, despite finishing second in the regular season, could not overhaul the Central Element in Drop Shot. So the Central Element progressed on to the cup final and would be met by Delay Lag, who won 3-2 in their match against Estonia. And what is the big thing to mention from this one is that Surprise secured 105 damage points. Yes, you heard that right, folks, 105. The most anybody scored during the rounds, basically. And even in the final, no one eclipsed 105 damage points. So a very solid effort indeed. Shout out to Frozen Gamers as well for Estonia with 94 damage points. Really, those 2 players, the players of the day in this one. And despite Frozen Gamers' efforts, wasn't quite enough to overhaul Delay Lag. And so they moved on and set up a final against the Central Element. And it was a final that was a lot more one-sided than we expected it to be. Delay Lag with 4 goals to the 0 scored by the Central Element. And it was a disappointing day for Luke and Maestro. No goals, no assists, no saves on the board either, and just 45 damage points between them, while Surprise was the man of the moment again, 85 damage points, 4 goals this time, so really sensational effort from him, and really helped his teammate Max along the way. 61 damage points from Max and 2 assists, so a very good contribution from him, to be fair, and of course he scored 3 goals to get them to the final in the first place, so really a very, very solid team indeed, and well worthy of becoming FXRL Cup winners. And so no surprise that as far as drop shot goals scored, 2 of the top 3 I should say are both from Delay Lag. 5 goals for Surprise sees him take the Golden Wheel Award for the Drop Shot Cup. Luke with 4 and Max with 4 as well. Azar, Ash and Wes all on 3 apiece. So decent efforts from them as well. But certainly the guys who stood out on the leaderboards here, both of course came from Delay Lag, and so very worthy champions, you have to say. And that plays out to the assists as well. So you've got Max top of the board with 3 assists, Surprise picking up an assist as well, and only 5 players actually managing to secure assists during the whole cup competition. And to be fair, assists are difficult to secure on drop shot, so very, very solid efforts from all those guys who managed to pick up any assists whatsoever. Very, very solid from them indeed. And as far as saves goes, well, it was Luke top of the leaderboard as far as saves went in the regular season, and top of the leaderboard as far as cup saves. 9 saves across his 3 matches, so 3 saves a game is a very, very solid statistic indeed. The Rift, the next nearest, with 5, which was again pretty solid given that he only played 2 matches, didn't make it to the final. And you had Surprise on 3 as well. Jack Spar as well, picking up 3 along the way, so a very solid contribution from him too. And that essentially is all we've got as far as the headlines go from the Drop Shot Cup. Oh no, I've missed one, and that's actually damage scores. I didn't scroll down far enough, and the perils of when you don't scroll far enough through your list of stats, folks. And I was surprised with 238 damage points secured over his 3 games that stood out by quite some margin over the rest. And he really was the MVP of the tournament and the man for Drop Shot, it would seem, based on his cup campaign. So, that is essentially our Game Week 12 roundup, folks. It's been a long one, so thank you for sticking with us. And with regards to that, of course, Delay Lag crowned our Drop Shot Cup champions, but it was Angulation Sensations crowned winners of FormulaXbox Rocket League Season 2. They follow in the footsteps of MacKev United, and what a season it's been for them. Joining late, but unbeaten throughout. They are invincible. They are Angulation Sensations. This has been the roundup for the final game week of Rocket League FormulaXbox Season 2. Thank you ever so much for watching all of these game week roundups from both myself and Luke. And until next time, folks, when we'll be back with some Season 3 roundups and some Season 3 discussion, we shall see you very soon. Keep enjoying Rocket League, and it's bye for now.